The Cold War was built on fear. Fear of nuclear destruction, fear of retaliation, fear of the end of the world. Because of that fear, the superpowers avoided fighting each other directly. But war did not disappear. It simply moved elsewhere. A new kind of battlefield. The United States and the Soviet Union understood one truth. A direct war between them could end civilization. Nuclear weapons made victory meaningless. So instead of fighting face-to-face, they fought indirectly. This strategy created proxy wars conflicts where smaller nations became the battlegrounds for a much larger struggle. Weapons, money, and ideology flowed in from afar, turning local tensions into international disasters. For the superpowers, proxy wars were calculated moves. For the people living there, they were nightmares. Korea, a country torn in two. Korea was one of the first victims of this new global conflict. After World War II, the peninsula was divided along the 38th parallel. The North was backed by communist allies. The South was supported by the United States and its partners. In 1950, North Korean forces crossed the border, launching a sudden invasion. What followed was a devastating war involving global powers, massive troop deployments, and relentless fighting. Cities were reduced to rubble. Families were separated forever. After 3 years of bloodshed, the war ended without a clear victory. Korea remained divided. The Cold War had drawn its first line in blood. Vietnam, a war without an end. Vietnam became the next major battlefield. After French colonial rule collapsed, the country was split between a communist North and a non-communist South. The United States feared that if Vietnam fell, other nations in the region would follow. This belief led to deep American involvement. The war in Vietnam was long, brutal, and deeply controversial. Jungle warfare, heavy bombings, and civilian suffering defined the conflict. Despite overwhelming military power, the United States could not achieve victory. In 1975, the war ended. Vietnam was united under communist rule. The Cold War had claimed another nation. Proxy wars allowed superpowers to avoid direct confrontation, but they came at a terrible cost. Millions of soldiers and civilians died. Entire regions were destabilized. Generations grew up in war zones created by distant decisions. These wars proved a painful truth. The Cold War may have been cold for the powerful, but it was devastating for everyone else. The superpowers survived without firing a nuclear weapon at each other. But across the world, nations burned. The Cold War didn't always fight directly, yet its wars were painfully real.